So, welcome back to the weigh-in, a panel off the ballot this morning with a couple of the regulars on holiday and some of us who are sticking around for the long haul. Yesterday's undercard included some of New Zealand's finest up-and-coming gallopers lining up in the Group 2 Hawke's Bay Guineas. And the question was, can the filly beat the boys? And I think I suppose, George, we'll get to the analysis with Luke at the end of the replay here. Melt drew well enough and posied up quite nicely. Sort of Osmond took advantage of that one barrier draw early.
Yeah, certainly did. He was always going to go forward, sort of Osmond, which he did with AP Boston having his first ride back. Look, there were a couple of horses that just couldn't get across from their wide draw. Cyber Attack was one of those, was played at 3 and 4 wide throughout. But look, the eventual winners, or the winner, Madison County, is back. Fifth last, one off the rail at that stage of the race, and of course the filly Melt was directly in front of her. So they proved to be the way the race was run too. Luke, they ran along at a good tempo, and it set it up for those sweepers, and the complexion of the race changed a lot.
Actually, Madison County a bit rough there with running around and behind Melt, following the right horse. At this stage of the day, you probably thought they'd been far enough back because sort of Osmond at this point looked like he was travelling pretty well here.
For a moment you thought he was going to win, and apparently pressing on to the 2,000 guineas potentially with him, which is interesting. We'll see. I guess nothing's set in stone at this stage. But look, the cream rose to the top here, didn't it? And I mean, it's almost like those two horses were on a travelator and the remainder just walking on solid ground, the way they went past them. One thing I'd say about Melt, though, she's got a way to go in her coat and she will improve. Yeah. I wouldn't take that as being the last word on who's the better horse out of Melt and Madison County.
Well, that was the reverse of the finishing order at Ruakaka at their previous start, and they were both very good runs that day as well. It was good runs from those two horses yesterday. Yeah. Nice run from the fourth horse too, Star Performance. It was a very nice run.
So Melt goes to the 1,000 guineas or the 2,000 guineas. Is that still up in the air today?
I don't know. Avantage, I think, is $3 for the 1,000 guineas and 10 for the 2,000. I think she's more likely to go 1,000 guineas. And I wonder if that might influence Melt to go 2,000 guineas. If she were mine, I'd be seriously considering it, in part because 2,000 guineas is worth 500,000, the 1,000 guineas 300,000. I think other than Madison County, the fillies appear better, so it might be the more winnable race, the 2,000 guineas.
He's a plain package, isn't he, Madison County? He only cost about $36,000 at the yearling sales, but he's looking pretty good now.
He sure is. And there's a bit of an interesting story here I came across yesterday. I thought it was interesting anyway. But this horse is out of a mare called Red Delicious. And she actually went through a mixed bloodstock sale last year. In foal to Atlante. She's from a good Waikato stud family. She's a full sister to a group winner. She's a young brood mare, only 8 or 9 years old. It's the O'Reilly Courtsa family a couple of generations back.
Take the rap, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. She sold for $1,000 in foal to Atlante. Now,
did you get her?
I didn't.
You underbid
Mr. and Mrs. Dunphy, as I understand.
I bet she's worth a lot more now.
Well, she should be, and that's a great bit of buying. Although the cloud to that silver lining would be, what does it say about how hard and uneconomic it is to have a broodmare and breed her every year? That a horse with those sort of qualifications in foal sells for $1,000. It's not good bigger picture, but obviously great for the buyers.
Yeah, it's a luck game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You know.
So you're saying there was enough in Melt yesterday to perhaps pursue Madison County in the 2,000 guineas. Was there anything else in the guineas or out of the guineas that would change your mind on any of the other runners that being a threat?
I thought the fourth horse was nice, Star Performance. But he's not going down to Riccarton. He's going to have a break for 2 weeks, according to trainer Danny Walker, and then he'll be up probably racing over the summer months at Ellerslie. He's a nice horse, keeping a watch on him.
Cyber Attack was a forgive, but the first two are standouts.
What about King Louis?
He gave a sight, didn't he? Yeah. Halfway down the straight, he loomed up on the outside of the leader, sort of Osmond, and it was only the swoopers out wide that two very smart horses had got.
So that pick and flick, or tick and flick thing we were talking about, I was willing to flick sort of Osman after his run at Ruakaka. Now 1,600 metres, Guineas time, Riccarton.
Yeah.
Seriously?
You know, the horses that are more speed horses can win the 2,000 guineas, though, if they've got the class.
You go for Skylo, won at 132, didn't he, in front?
Well, yeah, and look, King's Chapel was more of a sprinter than a miler, but he absolutely smashed them when he won it. So it's not crazy to think that Sort of Osman could improve. The Riccarton track, I think, would suit him. But it's interesting. You could just as easily see him freshened up and coming into a Telegraph or something like that. That would be a good race for him too.
Okay, so maybe not in the Guineas yesterday, but in an earlier race there was a colt with $1 million wrap taking on another colt who's not actually nominated for the Guineas, but they put on a show in the fourth race over 1,400 metres. We're talking about Langkawi, the eventual winner in the Mackay colours, and the $1 million wrap on Lincoln Falls, who had to show up early in this race. Did that suit his style, having to be outside the leader, you think, George?
I just think he's a horse, he's a work in progress with racing manners, this horse. He's obviously held in very, very high regard, Lincoln Falls, and he was beaten by a smart horse who's been seasoned. The horse, Langkawi, had a nice trip in the trail as well. Good ride by Sean Mackay. I think the interesting part of this race, and we mentioned it prior to coming on air, Luke, was the ride of Jonathan Parks. The impression I got immediately watching the race was Lincoln Falls is green. He started to gawk around, especially up the home straight over the last 250 metres or so. He's got his head up and his ears are pricked and he's looking at the signage, I thought, on the inside.
I thought so too. I thought that was exactly what happened. I thought he might have shied at the 50-metre mark, but on reflection, I don't think that's what's happened. Keep your eye on him, he's the horse outside of the leader.
You know what I reckon? He had to stop riding because he was giving him a bit of a flogging.
I agree.
From about
very
here.
heavy whip ride, which I frankly, as someone who thinks there's way too much whip in New Zealand racing, I shudder at. But it probably, the fact that he stops riding with the whip for a stride, 50 metres out.
And that was enough.
And I think the horse thought the race was over, he propped, and it might have cost him the race.
Langkawi, in the meantime, was just sitting pretty in behind. But you know, post-match, they were talking about how green he's been so far in his career and that he's a work in progress as well.
Oh, he's obviously up and up. He had the former around Madison County, he'd run second to him, hadn't he? So,
but not nominated for the Guineas. What do you...
Look, I just thought Lincoln Falls is a horse held in high regard, and you don't dismiss him on that defeat yesterday.
Oh, no.
He'll win.
He's the one to follow out of the race, I think.
He's a horse going forward. Look, talking about going forward, I thought one of the rides of the day yesterday at Hawke's Bay.
I thought it was Tony Allen, but no.
The race. This is on Rhinestone Cowboy, and this is Jonathan Riddell.
He's got to stay on for 8 seconds, doesn't he?
Yeah.
1003,
I tell you what,
1004,
he is a fantastic horseman, this guy.
I don't think that works in slow motion, Sheldon.
And he is, he showed us, made a mess of the rail.